Hi, I'm going to be reviewing a trilogy called Red Rising. It is written by Pierce Brown. The first book is called Golden Sun. There should be a picture somewhere of it on here. I originally saw it on Goodreads, so I see a lot of my books. I will search in the search engine 2016 top books or 2015, and that popped up sometime. And I wrote it down, and then later I went to the library and I went to go get it, and I went to the young adult section, which is where I always go to get my books, and it wasn't there, and I was confused because I'd searched and they said I had it in, and I went back to the computer at the library, and it was actually in the science fiction section, which I was a little bit concerned about because that's not the normal books I read like at all. And I wasn't going to get it, but then I read the synopsis again. I was like, no, this really seems like something I would be interested in. So I went back and I got it and brought it home, and that's when I noticed again that it was written by a guy, and then that's when I realized the main character was a guy as well, which I'm all about those fantasy fiction dystopia books where there's a strong female heroine, and so with it being written by a guy and having a guy main character, I was a little bit concerned, but after like the first chapter I really kind of got into it. I felt like I was getting into the mind of a teenage boy a bit. But I really liked it. The character was really well developed, so I felt like he was like really believable. The whole series is a dystopia where there's a class system, which I feel like all good dystopia books have. He is of the lowest class, which would make him a red, and he is from Mars, and the whole thing is about him trying to work his way into the highest caste, which is the golds. And he gets placed in there through some help from some other people to hope that he can make a difference later. And most of the time he's away at the school where they try to develop and make the best of the golds. And these people will be famous people in their society that leads the whole classes. I really liked it because you meet a lot of good sub-characters in this movie. It'd be awesome if it was a movie. Maybe it's going to be a movie. That'd be great. In this book. Because they're really well developed. You really get a sense of these sub-characters and not just there for fluff. They really help the main character and make a difference, and you get a really good idea who these people are. There's a little bit of romance. I feel like any book I read has to have a little, I know, it's embarrassing, but I need it. There is a little bit, it's a little bit different. I'd say having it be from the guy's perspective, but it's there. I don't think it's too much. It's not cheesy. It doesn't really overshadow the rest of the book, and it's not like that's what you're looking for the entire time, like hoping these characters will end up together, because when that's the only thing leading the book, I feel like it doesn't really give you a great picture of a book. That doesn't make sense, but it's not good when the only thing leading and that you're looking forward to in the entire book is the romance and if these two characters will end up together. And that's not what I was looking for the entire time. I really wanted to get to know this kid and see if he can help the society be better and work out all of its problems. There's 3 books, and I feel like my one complaint would have been the gap between the first and the second book, because it kind of, in the second book, it just kind of brushes over what happened in that time, because there is a time jump, and I feel like we kind of missed out on some important things. I understand why it was there, because this book kind of grows and matures with this character over time, and if they gave another book and filled in that time gap, I feel like it would have been too long of a series. And so, I mean, I see it's a necessity, but I kind of wish they would have filled us in a little bit more on what happened during that time period. People tell, like in other reviews and stuff, they kind of liken it to Hunger Games, and I can see Why? Because there's quite a bit of violence, but it's not anything like Hunger Games, and I feel like the characters are much more developed and you don't get the whininess and the woe is my life as much as that. If you thought Hunger Games was kind of violent, then this, you don't probably want to read this because there's a lot of violence and it's very descriptive, like very descriptive. And it is kind of like in the first book, the kids are younger, so it's like kids fighting, but like there's a time hop and then they're more like young adults in their 20s and stuff, so I feel like it's a little bit more okay. The sci-fi is different planets, and I guess because there's technology in it that we don't have these days, that's where the sci-fi comes in, but I didn't really dwell on it. It didn't really affect me that it was sci-fi instead of like dystopia fiction or fantasy that I normally read. Overall, I really liked it. I would totally read more books from this author, Pierce Brown. So yeah, if you are looking for a good book where the boy is the main character and you really love dystopia, then I really think this would be for you. So happy reading, go out and read it. And I'm going to be looking for some other things written by him because I feel like he was a really great author. Oh, except for the word cacophony. I feel like it appeared too many times. And also, I read this series, and in between when I was waiting for the other books to come to me from the library, I read another book which said the word cacophony in it again, and I was just cacophonied out. I really got that word too many times, and I feel like it was in there at least 3 times. You can only use the word cacophony like 1 time, so sorry, Pierce. Find another word or a synonym or something. Okay?